Hello and welcome. Today we're discussing rotations, a concept prevalent in other games, but severely misunderstood and underutilized in our very young game of Overwatch. Now, before we can discuss rotations, we need to take a quick step back and break down fighting in Overwatch. It can be boiled down into three main phases: pre-fight, team fight, and post-fight. Today, we're going to be focusing on that first one, pre-fight, because, in my opinion, it's the most exciting from a strategic standpoint. A team of mechanically inferior players can beat a team of mechanically superior players with smart pre-fight tactics. First, let's look at a silly pre-fight tactic. Ah yes, engaging your opponents head-on, truly next level. Now that we've seen outdated war tactics, let's look at some Overwatch tactics that also need to die. In this clip, you'll see the offense jump into Cafe and, well, that's it. Winston will dive in first while off screen, followed by D.Va, followed by Genji. Not a whole lot of strategic depth to cover here. They have a single angle of attack and completely ignore their pre-fighting phase. So how do we pre-fight? The answer is rotations. Think of rotations as a deadly dance you do with your opponents, like rallying in tennis. One misstep and a good opponent will punish you. But keep making the right steps and you'll force your opponent into a mistake or until they're suffocated from options, making them predictable. And remember, a predictable player is a dead player. Let's take a peek at some examples. Here, blue side elects to make their left side their strong side. This means that if opponents come through their weak side on the right, their flankers will push forward towards that weak side, and their backline will fall back away from that weak side. And these rotations were on point until just now. Notice this error Genji and Tracer made. They got impatient and decided to shortcut the rotation. You should almost never shortcut your rotations unless you see a clean opportunity to strike. Because of this, we get a more traditional battle line set up here. The better option was to send one or both of them down this room to continue massaging their opponents, effectively prolonging the rotational dance, which by the way is even more effective on defense to waste more time. To make matters worse, Tracer goes for a head-on pulse bomb. This is super high risk and has a low chance of sticking. Imagine that pulse bomb coming from that left side. That's less risk and a higher chance of sticking. If Genji and Tracer had been more patient, blue side might have actually won this. Instead, it seems they panic here just a little bit and wind up losing the fight. In this clip, we have two teams that understand rotating quite well. Notice how once the offense comes from behind the point, the defense is already set up to dance with them on the opposing side. This may seem obvious, but in the heat of the moment, even professional players will get caught out of position during heavy rotational play. In fact, we're about to see Tracer bite the bullet due to her impatience. So what is the key to proper rotational play? Well, there are two fundamental things that all the details stem from. The first is dividing your forces into at least two groups, like a 5-1, 4-2, or 3-3, but we'll get back to that in a minute. Let's talk about the second fundamental, which is patience, patience, patience. This advice is particularly key for any solo queuers out there who play flankers. If you have an excellent flanking position that you sneaked into, wait for your teammates to engage before you peek out and explode on your opponents. Patience is what will allow you to engage simultaneously, and of course, there are times you want to stagger your attack by just a moment to create nice bait and switch plays, but we won't get into that today. In that last clip, we saw Tracer engaging about 2 to 3 seconds before her team was in position to fight. And here's the main takeaway from this video. 3 seconds of pre-fighting time is no time at all, but 3 seconds of team fighting time is an eternity. So what does that mean? It means that you need to be patient when pre-fighting. If it takes you 10 to 20 seconds to out-rotate your opponents before every engagement, that's a way better investment than eking out time for just one extra head-smashing wall tactic. And when you are ready to begin that team fight, make sure you don't jump the gun before your other teammates. They may just need those last precious 2 to 3 seconds of pre-fighting time for a critical cooldown or to heal up. Now, let's get back to dividing your forces using a hypothetical scenario. Red side just won the first fight and now have control of the point and an ultimate advantage you would expect. So now, both teams are setting up for the next fight. Red side is basically asking to get out-rotated here. Winston is in a damn good spot, ready to create tons of space for his team, but everyone else is clumped up in a ball. Yikes, you can't expect to rotate well with this positioning. The only positive thing to say here is that they have high ground. On the other hand, blue side is in a very good position to rotate around their opponents. If red side collapses on Genji and Tracer back off, and now blue side gets high ground. If red side pushes into the main forces of blue side, Genji and Tracer get the point, and the blue side forces back off for a short while. There are more hypotheticals, but we won't exhaust them here. Now you're probably saying, man, this is a dumb hypothetical. Why would you defend like that?
Miro and Nox, best Winston in the East versus best Winston in the West. For now, actually, Nox does have a significant advantage in propping up the Primal Rage. Look at this. Esker's actually snuck onto the point. He's capping it.
Yeah, and Rogue also, I mean, they use the sound barrier, but you're exactly right. It is going to be recapped, and Esker being very, very sneaky gets in there and delays a lot of this percentage. It'll be retaken, but that is good time bought as Transcendence does go down on the side of Rogue.
Notice that even with the slight ultimate edge, the fact that red side clumped up made it impossible from a rotational standpoint to defend this properly. Red side is simply far too predictable and static, while blue side is flexible and dynamic. Red side decided to go all in on Winston, but used far too many resources to kill him. By that point, the battle was actually in blue side's favor. Now, of course, I'm oversimplifying a complex fight, but the point stands. The lesson here is that in order to have an offense or defense that is able to rotate, you need to divide your forces in some manner. Even just one person separating from his or her team can be the difference between winning and losing a fight. And as you get better, you'll recognize when to rotate, where to rotate, and who you need with you to pull it off. So the TLDR is divide your forces and be patient with your engagements. Alright, let me know how you rotate with your favorite hero in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe. Thank you.